So, this fight. This is the final fight against Erilu Vorlash. And she basically poofed away. She's going to pop out somewhere around here more than likely. No, we don't know that information. Well, Mrs. Gimpy would never make lasagna for a cat. She'd make it for herself, but not for the cat. Okay, Wendu. We got no targets to shoot. Oh, yes, we do. She's right there. Step away. Fatal mark. Marks the targets. Increase an invisible bond between them whenever the wielder makes it to mark echo. Just put one set of those in there. Or not. Stupid concealment. Nenio. Does Nenio have the spell? Nenio does not have the spell. So this particular Erilu is going to be ridiculously strong. So 30 outsider, 10 witch, 1600 hit points, all the stuff on her. Immune, compulsion, death, critical, blah. Magic immunity. So basically Nenio can't do shit to her.
Hey Gimpy, it is time to take a break.
No, it's not. Already did that, so we'll put a haste up.
Your next break is in 2 hours.
Go invisible. Gimpy. Let's see. Marker. Put your ring on you. Oh yeah, rage. Give rage to Rocket too. Should I summon a Baylor to fight for us? Sure, why not?
Run them through.
Lou need to take a bite there. So Bob. Okay, let's see. Veronica get away that way. Oh yeah, we have the aura. Or the aura. Of course it doesn't hit those two, but that's okay. I'm sure it'll be horrible. That aura is way too small. Mickey. Five-foot step, do that, and play your song. Ecstasy, shout greater. Really inspiration. When spells in effect, each time the subject of the spell makes an attack roll, with a check, a skill check, it rolls 2 with a better result. So, Gimpy. Wow, what was that explosion thing? He made his saving throw, so whatever it was, she didn't kill it. Okay, Rocket. Quivering palm. Would this work? Nope, it's death. Okay. Can she be knocked over? I forgot to look at that.
Attack.
I think she can be. Win for the right person, charming, whatever. Dominate. Slow, distracted, prone. So basically, stupid boss fight. Get a rocket.
We shall overcome.
So, no crits. When do? When you push, she has a ridiculous amount of hit points, right? At 1600, so she's almost a half down. Nenio. Again, Nenio can't really do anything. Wisdom. Yeah, we do. Okay, so we're good. Oh, this is where we can use this for. The rod. Well, you know she's going to make that save, but we'll see just in case. So, Phantasmal Killer. The rod makes it so that she can be effective by it. She still gets to make her saves. Of course she was successful because 39, so she's going to make those saves all day. The Baylor's doing some damage. Gimpy. Flames the Abyss. Whatever. Oh, wait a minute, he's got the... Did I put the other death thing on him? Run this thing? Musical line, go to land enhancement 4. So I don't think we have the... his buff, spell buff thing. Stance, hasted. Bizzle skin. Okay. So I don't think... Yeah, life thing.
Out of my way.
Gimpy is not on the dog? How'd that even happen? I don't even know how that even happened. Get her, Bob. Got her down to injured. So this is loot, right? So the dog's actually being fairly competent here. I mean, not doing great, but they're competent. Doing damage. Veronica, get farther away, please. 5-foot step. Yes, yes. Jolting Portent. Hacker casts a spell, must succeed fortitude saving throw, and DC plus 10 plus half the caster level plus wisdom. So 20 something. Fails saving throw, takes damage plus your wisdom modifier, and electricity damage. Oh. So is that actually on her?
We shall overcome.
I don't see jolting portent on there. She got rid of this electricity anyway. Cheater. Huh. She's sickened. Attack rolls with no saving throws, skill checks, and ability checks. I think that's coming off of, where's that coming from? Might be Gimpy stuff. Should've went for Dispel. Okay, Mickey, get out of there if you can. Second verse. So a little damage. Wow, just hammered Wendu there. I think it's because she's not part of the aura. And this is the polar thingy, isn't it? Okay, Rocket. Swing away.
Do not hold back.
Crit would be nice. Crit would be nice. She's barely injured. Oh, that's right. This is the bullshit where she does the full heal stuff. I hate this fight. It's so stupid.
No match for me.
Nanio. Turn that on for now. She doesn't have a dispel. Do we scroll down? Maybe to see. Scroll. Dispel magic greater is what we're looking for. I don't think we have that though. Oh, here we do. So just regular dispel magic. It's not dispel magic greater. Not crater, greater. Welcome back, Infernal. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas Eve. Fails to dispel. Around you, activating this ability grants you magic immunity, dispels any spell effect on you. I don't think she has anything on her. So Gimpy is on the ground, right? Was on the ground. So Master Hunter. Single attack of the favorite enemy is a full attack bonus. Let's see if this works. Not this turn apparently, or didn't work. I'm just gonna pick that null skill a few times. feel like it was selective in what it dispels. What? The dispel magic? Dispel magic, you put it on a person, it dispels any buffs and stuff. Well, it dispels anything that's on them, or it tries to. There's another spell. Oh, the mythic ability? What Nenio has? That one dispels... I think it's supposed to... No. Yeah, I'm not sure how that one works. Because there's another dispel... There's an actual spell that does... supposed to remove stuff off of friendlies. The problem is it takes off good stuff too. It doesn't take off the... It takes off bad stuff, but it takes off good stuff too. Yeah, it might take stuff too. Just to make you immune to magic entirely when you activate it. But it's only for one round, I think. Bob. Whatever. Okay, Veronica. It's time to do what you do best, I guess. Heal. This'll get everybody. Oh, it heals the demon too. Nice. Mickey. So the final verse was cast within 2 rounds of draft, cast within 2 seconds, it costs 1 round, okay. Nuker. Good damage. She's immune to staggered though, which is BS. Part in Neverwinter Times where you would enter a cave that dispelled all magic, including all enchantments on your gear until you found its center. Fun stuff, isn't it? Wow. That is such... I don't even know what happened there. I have no idea what just happened there. She basically just killed everybody. Tsunami. She just killed everybody. And got served, apparently. I mean, she just killed everybody. I mean, look at that. Negative 61, negative 98. What's the point? Hey, Nazaran, welcome to the stream. The effect I expect when I cast new... Yeah, that's not the way it works for us, though. Bob can't attack her for some reason. Okay. See, what sucks is heal doesn't bring everybody back. Should. Lucas loves to get one shot. Killed everybody. Kind of like Arilu just did. That's number 7 on your bingo card. We've already seen that, so go to your bingo card. Click a number you need to get closer to bingo. Good luck. So Master Hunter is, I don't even know what's going on here. Not affected by target spell resistance. It doesn't seem to be doing anything.
Let's hear you cry.
This Master Hunter thing doesn't seem to work. Let's make it for to save or die. There's no dice roll or anything going on there. We don't even know if that's working. But not against the same creature more than once. So I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to work. What's the point? It doesn't seem to work. Bob can move. Oh, you know what? I think she turned Bob into a dog. I did activate it and it just ends it. As you saw, I activated it and then there was nothing to do. I don't know what she is. She's a demon. She's an outsider. We don't know what she is, actually. She's got aspect of the succubus and incubus. So she's a spellcaster, I think.
Hello everyone. My name is Veronica and welcome to Gimpy's Twitch channel. If you are enjoying what you are watching, please click the follow button in the lower right corner of the video screen. That way you will be notified by Twitch when Gimpy goes live. You can also find Gimpy on YouTube where he posts previous episodes and highlights of the stream. Just scroll down under the video screen and click the YouTube button in the About section. Then click the subscribe button to follow. That's it. Thanks.
She's not a demon. She's a half a demon. That's good enough. She's supposed to be a half demon. She got the aspects on her. Demon adopts any demon adopts the aspect of the succubus. So she's a demon, but it doesn't work on her because it's stuff. Anyway, Bob got turned into a dog. That's why he's not attacking. He's part of the prismatic spray that gets turned into a dog. So Bob can't do anything. Those are her subtypes. Right. She's a chaotic evil outsider. She's an outsider and a mythic witch. Demon isn't there. It usually doesn't count as a demon. I don't think these guys actually say demon, though. I think they all say outsiders. I think. It's been a while since I actually paid attention to that. And we can't look at our own demon, because that would be helpful. They do? Okay, I never pay attention to that shit, usually. Everybody's an outsider, yes. She can do resurrections. What level is resurrection? 7 or 8? That's a heal. It's not 6. It's 7. Greater restoration. Help me. Resurrection. I got diamonds. Well then. So Rocket has no buffs, though. Get her Scout. Scout that's not really here anymore. Like we have that demon. I don't even know where this demon, this elemental is. No! Baylor, come back! Oh, that's right, Bob. Done, Bob. Okay, Veronica. All the resurrections, where are you? Get her Scout. The last tick of 1 damage mattered. Of course it did. And Rocket's down again. That's one of these games. Got a sneak attack in there. 4 screen weaver. Let's see. Poor Bob. Bob is burning. Apparently Veronica's burning too. Okay. She's even still alive. She has no health bar because she cheats. She's a cheater. That's how she's still alive. She's a cheater. That's how this boss fight is. Nothing but a cheat. Look, good hope. This whole fight is nothing but BS. In all honesty, she's like immune to basically everything. You have to strip all her buffs off her, and then when you do, she comes back again with all her buffs back on. It's a stupid fight. It really is. I hate the boss fights in this game. I'm actually here. See if this will matter. This is just normal difficulty. That's the stupidest part. But I'm going to change that right now. We're going to go to story mode. Extremely weaker opponents. We're just going to do this because, like I said, I hate this fight. It's stupid. See, even when we change it to this, it does this stuff too.
I would be responsible for the creation of my most powerful enemy.
I can see you. Suture, show yourself.
I've been waiting for you to get distracted so I can stab you in the back.
You covered your plan. The spells in this chamber, they are designed to kill you if something goes wrong. You've been preparing for this outcome from the start, am I right?
How very perceptive. But you didn't think I would make it easy, did you? I won't let you win. You need me alive. You want to use me to close the wound, but I can destroy myself before you have a chance.
This is madness, an act of evil, and it's absolutely pointless. You don't accomplish anything. Is this really how you wish to go? Don't do this. I'll stop you, by force if necessary. So don't embarrass yourself in this pathetic attempts to prevent the inevitable. Oh, look.
Fine. Let's say I don't destroy myself. What happens now?
You get more experience points? That we don't need?
Stronger than I could have anticipated. As your creator, I should be proud to be defeated by the one I have imbued with power. Is there any higher praise? But I'm tired. You won't hear me pleading. Let us finish this experiment here and now.
It's over. Now you will die, giving your life to help to heal the world wound that you created. Do you have any last words? I'm not going to sacrifice you. I'm walking away and leaving everything as it is. I don't know if I want to do that. Not going to sacrifice you.
Then what are you going to do? Sacrifice your own life to seal the wound? Just turn around and leave?
Surrender to your inner demon. You say yes to your rage, yes to the vortex of might, yes to the desire to rend and crush, yes to the unstoppable hatred for all that binds and curbs. The wound lies before you, and it is clear that it is your greatest enemy, your last enemy, one that must be brought down. Scarlet mist veils your sight, and you hear a frightened scream. Who is screaming? Is the wound that has found a voice in some form of sentience, or is it you? No matter. Strength boils inside you. Like magma in the heart of a volcano, your claws tearing and shredding. Either your own flesh or the very fabric of creation. Everything around you melts into the fire of purest, intoxicating rage, finally free of all chains. Throw her into the pit. Oh, Gimpy's jumping in. I wasn't expecting that. I just yelled the world wound closed. I think I just jumped into the world wound. Life and death, destiny and great deeds, answers to mysteries, the search for one's true path. The mind can comprehend all of these, and then such concepts can be written down. As a sequence of formulas, a series of lines, a chain of thought. Still, a moment always comes when it's time to wrap up to reach a conclusion, to put a period at the end of the last sentence. The impossible rift, a bleeding wound that had tormented all of Galarian for 100 years, has finally healed. I think you punched it closed, yeah. Upon turning his boiling rage into a weapon, the commander burned the world wound out of existence in one obliterating blast. Pharasma summoned the commander to her court, but another more imperious summons drowned out the words of the goddess of the dead. It was the Lady in Shadow, commanding her champion to return home. Assuming his true demonic form, the commander took his place at Naticula's side. His conquests were only just beginning. The Fifth Crusade may not have lasted long, but in that short time, Dresden became the commander's city, his bulwark, his citadel. Unsurprisingly, he remained the ruler of the city and the surrounding lands after the spectacular victory at Threshold. Under the commander's rule, Dresden became a fearsome stronghold of the Abyss. The once noble crusader forsook their righteous path and became deranged cultists. Statues of the gods were replaced by demonic altars, and mortal generals were supplanted by vicious failures. Rumors spread across Avestan that the Worldwound had been a mere trial run, and the true invasion of the Abyss was yet to come. The slaughter of the last true crusaders committed by the commander in Dresden sparked numerous conversations around the necessity of a new crusade, the sixth. But the best and noblest of the warriors, those who were unafraid of challenging evil, were already long dead by then. There was no one to lead a new holy army, because we kind of killed them all. News of the Lady in Shadow's powerful new champion alarmed the other demon lords. The might and appetites of the Midnight Isles were growing too quickly, giving their neighbors cause for concern. Was Naticula's realm intending to dominate the entire Abyss? War between the demons was inevitable. My air conditioner just came up. It's that warm here today. Yaz gained influence and power in Illusionera. After a few decades of loyal service, he attempted a coup, but to no avail. His last words were, "I had to try." Telling me Naticula just walked up to the goddess of death and demanded resurrection? Apparently. Although the commander became the symbol of the Fifth Crusade, there were still those among the Crusaders who were dissatisfied with his decisions. Years later, their words served as the basis of many alternate versions of history of the struggle against the Worldwound. With the conclusion of the war, Dresden, the heroic fortress of the Crusaders, began to wane in importance. The memories of the gruesome battles faded. The deeds of the brave were forgotten. A mere century later, Dresden had once more become just another northern garrison, and the legacy of the Fifth Crusade began to slip into obscurity. The Dresden fortress was abandoned, and the redoubtable headquarters of the commander's followers was relocated to Threshold. Queen Galfrey died, leaving no direct heir. I don't know how she died. Mendevian society was soon mired in political plots and petty power struggles, subjected to an ever-changing cast of rulers and pretenders to the throne. But none was able to win the love of the people or achieve the level of national unity for which Mendev had been renowned in the reign of Queen Galfrey. Quite a number of Mendevians wanted to see the commander of the Fifth Crusade inherit the throne. Irbeth killed her. Irbeth and what's her face? The dragon. Tarendalev, yes. Irbeth killed Galfrey and then flew off on Tarendalev. The wardstones from the... I'm glad somebody remembered this story because I forgot it. That was my alibi, you know. The wardstones form the chain. The wardstones from the chain that once guarded the borders of Mendev were carefully disassembled one by one. The angels that had been trapped inside returned to heaven to heal their wounded spirits and prepare for new battles against evil. The victory over the Worldwound changed many things, not just on Galarian, but in the Midnight Isles as well. Naticula spent many days pondering the words of a certain young and fearless prophet. Before long, the Lady in Shadow openly renounced her realm and became the Redeemer Queen. This revolt against her own demonic nature transformed Naticula, severed her ties to the Abyss, and brought her to Elysium. There, upon creating a realm named Midnight's Palette, the Redeemer Queen attained divine power and became the patroness of the exiles. Naticula's throne did not remain vacant for long. With an iron hand, the commander repressed the emerging riots and asserted himself as the only indisputable successor to the Lady in Shadow. Being any of the serious runs. Demons are not against Rasmus rule, and Gimpy gave his soul to Nocticula, so she probably let things. Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be. The commander had celebrated his victory over Ereshkigal. Little did he know that some demon lords go as far as forfeiting their own life to achieve their ends. The mask of the inscrutable Ereshkigal remained in the possession of the commander of the Fifth Crusade until the very end. He refused to or could not find the strength to discard that sinister item, and shortly after the Battle of Threshold he began disappearing for days at a time, then suddenly returning, unable to recall what had happened to him. The Demon Lord Baphomet suffered a defeat. The world wound was closed, and the convenient passage to Galarian was sealed along with it. Baphomet shifted his attention to the realms of the other Demon Lords. A cell of the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth was soon discovered in the Lucian era. Demon Lord Discari suffered a defeat. He bided his time, continuing to plot his invasion of Galarian, and after that, of heaven itself. The cultists that remained on Galarian went mad one after another, tortured by the nightmarish dreams their lord sent to them. The commander's escapades in the Lucian era left a lasting impression on its Denzians. Under Zeklex's management, the battle bliss gradually fell into decline. Audiences had grown bored of ordinary gladiator fights, and the Nahindrian League closed due to a lack of members. Realizing that his talents as an arena steward would never be appreciated in the Abyss, Zeklex sold the battle bliss and used the proceeds to relocate to Hell, where he finally found himself at home. The unrelenting killer and vigilante known as Red Mask continued her purge of Revolutionera and assembled a full squad of Aasimar assassins. Demons enjoyed listening to stories of their bloody exploits, that is, until the assassins came to collect their heads. Gashmira was true to her word. The Winter Sun clan left the land of their ancestors. Once they had left the borders of the former Sarkoris, the clan split into several branches. One went to the wildlands of Numeria, others set off for free Berisia. A small group led by Gashmira chose to travel to Andoran, where they were lost among the many refugees fleeing other lands and other wars. The Winter Sun clan ceased to be. The daughter of Jeranak, the priest, and Melissa, the fisherwoman, demonstrated magical abilities from a young age, as well as a keen mind and a cold, cruel disposition. She had only gentle words for flora and fauna, but whenever a human hurt her, she would make use of her long, sharp nails, remembering the prophecy of the three hags. Melissa realized that in the end, her daughter would have to decide whether to stay human or become a hag. The Abyssal boy named Zorges had intended to leave the material plane, but a conversation with the commander after the victory over the World Wound caused him to change his mind. The details of this conversation are unknown, but a week later, Zorges knocked on the door of the Pathfinder Society's Grand Lodge and was accepted into the society as a ward. It was the beginning of a long, adventurous saga. Side story. The sinister Numerian device the commander had captured in the Blackwater clan encampment continued its grim work, subjugating mortals at its master's behest. Soon it had legions of warriors under its command. The tale of its horrors reached Absalom, marking the founding of a new union of crusaders, the Tech Slayers, who made it their mission to destroy this strange, menacing machine. The storyteller, as old as the tales he collected, continued his travels across Galarian and occasionally beyond. He knew that out there somewhere there was one story he would never find, his own. The Bladesmith did some good work on Finian after getting him back from the commander. The former Pathfinder became a fearsome weapon that constantly hungered for blood. The wounds dealt by the weapon would refuse to heal completely. Can we have him back? Once the war was ended, Camellia grew bored and irritable. Shortly afterwards, on a moonless night, she vanished. About a month later, an assassin by the name of Mireia arrived in Berisia. She had few things in common with the missing woman, apart from a fondness for cutting the hearts out of her victims. Sounds familiar. After the death of Horgus, the Worm, estate fell into disrepair. Orgus's will was never found, and all his fortune passed to Mendev's treasury. The name of the once proud Guerm family was quickly forgotten. Wendoag became the queen of the mongrels, and in so doing assumed her rightful place among her people. She gave her rugged brethren a place to settle, a patch of the untamed waste taken back from the demons. In time, those parts were named the Salt Lands, in remembrance of the sweat and blood paid by the young nation at the dawn of its existence. Thanks to their firm and determined ruler, the mongrel race survived their first perilous years of trials and hardship to forward a great future for themselves. After each battle, Wendoag would hurry to seek out the commander to boast of yet another victory. Naturally, she was still the same devious, cruel savage that could not be trusted. Perhaps it was because of this constant sense of danger that the passion between the commander and Wendoag never always remained ardent. Ember joined the Redeemed Brotherhood. She never recognized herself as their leader or gave any orders, but her very presence inspired the former miscreants to perform great deeds. One time, the Brotherhood grew into a major religious movement. Over time, they grew into that. Its preachers took a vow of poverty and walked the roads of Galarian, helping the needy, convincing villains to change their ways, and entreating both good and evil deities alike to be more merciful to mortal kind. Soon after the war, the tireless researcher of all things researchable embarked on a new journey. She had a sudden urge to know how much time it would take to visit every nation on Galarian. She never returned. No, she did not perish. She simply got carried away with another experiment and forgot to come back. Woljif was not tempted by the laurels of a war hero, for his true heritage awaited him in the abyss. After saying his farewells to the chief, the former thiefling went to Lucianera to claim what was his by right. His vast experience and shady dealings meant that Woljif was in his element. He became the best fencer and fixer in the city. He always knew where to find reliable assassins, when the next shipment of artifacts would arrive from Galarian, and which aristocrats were planning a coup for the month. After the war, Greybor went off on his personal conquest. He traveled to Lucianera and killed 4 candidates for the position of the head of the Assassin's Guild, whereupon he rightfully took the position himself and became a prominent figure in the Midnight Isles. Under his leadership, the guild prospered, and the denizens of many plains would shudder whenever they heard the innocent phrase, "Sweet dreams." Elushale made her triumphant return to the Abyss. The fabled succubus found many admirers, minions, and sycophants in Lucianera. Her authority grew. Soon, an unfortunate accident happened to the keeper of the battle bliss, and the arena found itself a new mistress. Having united with Greybor, the new leader of the Assassin's Guild, and Woljif, the best fixer in Lucianera, Elushale joined the ranks of the elite of the Midnight Isles. Together, these 3 former companions of the commander rose to power over the city's aristocracy. Powerless to oppose them, their adversaries went underground to bide their time until someone among the 3 decided to betray the other 2. To everyone's surprise, they are still waiting.
And what of me, the writer of these words? The half-demon witch known as the architect of the world wound.
I have not done a swarm room yet. I don't really have any plans to at the moment.
I was defeated. The victor spared my life in a gesture that was not quite a boon, not quite charity. I was left without hope, without a chance of finding a purpose again. I lived out my remaining days in an isolated cottage, far from everyone, needed by none, discovered by none. I have recounted the story of my life for you, Pharasma, Lady of Graves. Not only of my life, but of the Commander's also. I believe the tale of such an illustrious figure would pique even a goddess's curiosity. Now you know everything. I await your verdict, Goddess.
Sun hangs over the boneyard. The Lady of Graves is weighing her decision, and it seems the entire universe is holding its breath, awaiting her pronouncement. Who would dare to break a silence so absolute? Me. Uranus touches the boneyard, but it collides with an insuperable obstacle, the will of the Lady of Graves. She
An
never...
invader of my court wishes to have their say. I shall allow it.
Oh, wow, she's actually going to let me speak. Wow, normally she kicks me out. He suffered enough. Do not add to the evil already wrought with yet another act of evil. I appeal to your mercy. Of all the gods, Iomedae was the only one to fight against the World Wound. Even you, Pharasma, stood by and did nothing. Doesn't that suggest that the World Wound was not a great threat to the universe, and Erulu's crimes were not as heinous as claimed? Appeal to your sense of justice. Great evil deserves a commensurate punishment. Appeal to your sense of justice. The world the gods created exists in a delicate balance. Here they attempted to overturn that balance, which represents a direct challenge to you. Appeal to your mercy. Of all the gods, was the only one to fight against the world when even you. Doesn't that show that the world was not so great a threat to the universe, and Erulu's crimes were not as heinous as claimed? Ouch. You can do the diplomacy ones. Do not add to the evil. So this is a mercy. So let her go. Let her live or not suffer. Why would he not care? I know, this is the problem. These are not really... Let her deliver the verdict. There's not really good selection here as a demon, in all honesty. Okay, that's punishment. This is punishment. That's let her go. That's let her go. So we'll just let her do her thing.
You wrought great evil, while it stemmed from the evil that was done to you. Your actions far exceeded it. Your soul is dark, and there is only one place for you in the universe.
Welcome to the abyss as a
Hey, bag of water.
Worm, whatever.
Stretch your legs. You have been sitting in one spot for far too long.
I shall send you to the abyss, plane of pain and fury, suffering and privation. That which you have done to others will now be done to you. So be it.
Dum dum dum. Oh, I don't get to fight for asthma? I want to fight for asthma. One-on-one. Dun dun. Mom's reunited with Gimpy after all. Gimpy's not dead yet, though, is he? Technically, he's not dead. Anyway, so that's the end of that story. So that's round number, or that's run number 3 is done.